Okay, as a Kanye fan, as a hip hop fan, as a history fan, and as somebody who was alive and consuming hip hop in the early 2000s, this movie is genius. So, Genius is a 7.5 hour, three-part documentary focusing on Kanye West that's going to drop on Netflix. And the first part, which only spans from 1996 to right before the release of his first album, they put that in theaters a couple days before it drops online. And I went to check it out. When I was watching this, it didn't take long to realize that this isn't the type of documentary where you're going to see a bunch of his relatives and childhood friends talking to the camera about how he was back in the day. That's not what this is, and there's none of that going on in this first part. The film is just as laser focused on Kanye and his career as Kanye is himself, and it's kind of a sneak peek or a look behind the scenes or a backstage pass into the rise of Kanye 20 years ago. It's crazy how much we get to see from so long ago, and that this stuff has never been seen before. This is the day and age where you can have footage of someone's life, especially someone as prominent as Kanye, and not see it for 20 years. It doesn't even seem like it's possible nowadays. But so it's crazy to see all this old classic footage. And we see Kanye as a young producer who just moved to New York from Chicago to, further his career. And at this point, he's reached a level where he's a respected producer. He's working with the top talent, and he's getting all the accolades and compliments of being, a really dope producer that he is. But he's not content with that. He wants to become a rapper. He wants to get his own voice out there. He's confident and he's sure that he has something to say that hip hop needs to hear. And we see him constantly, not constantly, but repeatedly, we see him kind of go back and forth and go and try and strike a balance between being grateful for the success that he has, because he's reached a point where most people would have been content and satisfied with stopping. But he goes back and forth with being grateful for that success, but also not being complacent and not being okay with not getting to where he wants to be, and the constant frustration of all the rejection he's getting is you see it start to frustrate him more and more as time goes on. With this first part of what's going to be a trilogy, there's really two main parts that elevate this into a must see for me. The first part is, like I said, just the amount of footage we get to see. We get to see him in the 90s and early 2000s with Mos Def, with Talib Kweli. We get to see like the moment him and Pharrell meet backstage. They're like introducing themselves to each other on camera. We see Just Blaze. All of these people who were young, hungry, and just dope back in the day, we get to see footage with all of them. So that's crazy. And of course, Jay-Z's in there, Dame Dash is in there. It is just this, that alone would have satisfied me, just seeing all of this stuff. But then you also have the second part of this, which is his mother. It's not new information that Kanye's mother is really important to him. That we already know. But in here, it becomes really clear and really evident how instrumental she was to his artistry and how kind of foundational she was to his identity as an artist. And a lot, if not all, of his like endless and inexhaustible ambition kind of spawns from her. She speaks a lot of life into him. She speaks a lot of success into him. And we see very like intimate, heartfelt moments with the two of them that really contextualizes their relationship and shows a lot of where we see kind of the arrogance and the bravado. His self-assuredness started at home, and it started with his mom. And you see definitely how the very short connection is not, oh, I told you you were special and you believed me, and then that was it. It's much more direct than that. It's much more specific than that. And I thought that was a really important part of his story to include, and it was very heartfelt and emotional to see them interact with each other on that level. Especially now that she's passed, I think it has added weight to it. But I think at any point in time, if we were to see this, it would have had a very deep impact because you could just see their relationship and how good it was. This, just the first part. I haven't seen the other two parts, but this first part is automatic required reading. It's automatic required viewing for anybody who has any type of ambition or who wants to achieve anything that seems daunting. This is a masterclass in following your dreams or following a goal through. This, to me, this and the movie Whiplash are the two movies where the tagline, you don't need to know what it's about. Just put ambition in the tagline because that's what the movie's about. And that's what this is for me. And that's what I got from it. And that's why I think everybody should watch it. But Jeen Yuhs drops on Netflix, I think the 16th, the first part, and then they'll release it weekly after that. So let me know if you plan to watch it, if you're interested in it. Maybe you saw an early screening like me. Did you like it? What you thought of it? Let me know down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Even after you see it a week from now, come back and let's talk about it. Because this to me is a conversation movie through and through. This is something we can talk about, debate about, and get into. So let's talk about it, and I'll catch you next time.